All right, beauties. How wonderful it is to be with you again today. All right, beauty. Perfect. All right. We got sound. We got technology. Awesome. So here we are. Wild Woman Challenge during this summer solstice portal, day 3. Imagine. I am feeling so recovered. And wow, I had an amazing ceremony last night. It was so beautiful. I will share it a little bit later. So as most of you know, I am a divine feminine mentor. I guide women into their potential as embodied, powerful leaders through awakening sexuality and embracing it, empowering your relationship dynamics. If the energy is leaking out, right? How to take that energy back and really hold yourself as sacred so others hold you sacred, and how to manifest. And we're going to get a little bit into manifestation today, which I'm super excited about. So my passion is guiding others to free their spirit. I love watching people connect deeply with their spirit, with source, and connecting deeply with what their soul's purpose is. And this ripples out into all aspects of life to empower a whole new way of being in perspective. So I'm here to support women planting seeds in the spirit world and then watching them grow and manifest in this reality. My method is a fusion of dynamic coaching, energy work, wisdom practices, divine guidance, rituals, embracing the sexual liberation, healing the sexual wounds. All right, so that's how we do it. We have coaching calls. We have practices that you have to do on your own. And I keep all of my teaching videos pretty short so that you have time to do the practices. I'm a light worker, way shower, medicine woman, a guide for ascension and consciousness, awakening on the planet right now. And I absolutely love being part of this divine feminine rising. I love seeing it from other coaches and healers, watching them step into their power. That's like one of the things that makes my heart just like the happiest, is watching women break free from patriarchal and religious chains, like embrace their sexuality, their divine feminine goddess power, and create the life that they want and that their soul actually has for them to create. So very, very, very amazing, fun, beautiful, heartwarming things. Okay, make sure I'm on do not disturb. I don't want anyone calling me. All right, so this is day 3. Imagine. Let's imagine together. So day 1 was about feeling all the things, feeling all the feelings. Day 2 was about knowing. How do you source the truth, your truth, and live that, right? How do you know? So we talked about that yesterday. And today we're going to talk about imagining. And imagination has a lot to do with creation and manifestation. Isn't it fun how they all go together? So manifestation is really an interesting thing because we can think that we're doing all the things. And if we haven't healed our wounds or the unconscious stuff or the shadow, we'll still get blocked from the bigger things that we want to manifest. And you know this is starting to shift when you start seeing the angel numbers, when your synchronicities start to increase, right? You think about someone and then they call you. You think, hey, I'd like this, and then someone gives it to you, right? That's when that means that the energy is starting to shift. Your manifestation power is starting to increase. You're getting clearer and more aligned with yourself, which is super great. It's so affirming, and you can be in that space for years, and to take it to the next level, we really have to dive deep and do this deeper work, which is what I'm all about supporting. So for manifesting bigger things, you really do have to tap into your imagination. What do you want to create? What's the life that you want to live? What would be outside of the realm that you even think is possible. I'm currently living in a life that is outside of what I thought was possible, which I feel very honored and grateful for. And it's pretty crazy. So when you get here, I'd love to see that you're here. So just put in the chat, hi Neve, or an emoji. And if you're watching this later, do hashtag replay and let me know what you can imagine. So my first question in chat is, on a global scale, what can you imagine? Fuck the politics and the war and the low frequency stuff. Like, just let it all go for a second. Hurting the planet, right? Environment, like all of the shit that's happening. Let it all go for a moment. And what could you imagine? What is possible? What would be a utopia? What would be the new Atlantis? What would be divine feminine has risen, divine masculine has been uncovered, they're dancing and harmonizing together. What does that do for the planet? How are we taking care of the animals? How are we taking care of the nature beings? How are we taking care of the plants? How are we taking care of the earth? How are we taking care of each other? How are we taking care of the children, the orphans, the homeless? You know, by us being together now and imagining what it could be like, we are bringing that reality closer to us. So I'd like to see in the chat, what do you want to see? What can you imagine? Let's dream here. Okay, so love to see it in the chat. Let me know. And I always check the comment threads later. So if you missed the live, just do hashtag replay. And you can also do tag me at Neve Grace. It doesn't matter if it's my page or my profile, they're the same. So either way, I will get the notification. Yeah, I want to know what you can imagine for the world. And then we'll take it personal. What can you imagine for yourself? And this is where it gets a little bit trickier because of our conditioning, because of what we feel like is possible, sometimes because of what's in our bank account. We're like, oh, that's not possible, or oh, I couldn't do that, or right. So I'm going to read a little bit from the book because this is the book that inspired this challenge. Whoop. There goes my ankh. Okay. There is a life meant for you that is truer than the one you are living now. But in order to have it, you will have to forge it yourself. You will have to create on the outside what you're imagining on the inside. Only you can bring it forth, and it will cost you everything. Whew. Only you can bring it forth. And you can't bring it forth unless you first imagine it, right? In fact, my favorite idea of faith is a belief in the unseen order of things. So I really like that. And it really starts with imagination. This is why it's good to not do anything and just sit on a porch swing and imagine, or go on a walk and just let your mind wander. This is actually very healthy for us. And I know I don't do it enough. I'm doing it more and more, but it's really, really valuable. Okay, so for you personally, these are questions that you can journal about, or what I would love to see is the answers in the chat. I will also post them. So let's conjure up from the depths of our soul the truest, most beautiful lives we can imagine. What is the truest, most beautiful life you can imagine? I would love to know, even an aspect, one tiny detail about the truest, most beautiful life you can imagine. So in the chat, what is the truest, most beautiful life you can imagine? What is the truest, most beautiful families that we can fathom? What is the most truest, beautiful families we can fathom. Oh, families soaked in unconditional love for each other, forgiveness, compassion, non-judgment. These are some of the things I think. Not having opposing views, or having opposing views and not letting that separate you. There were so many families that got pulled apart during the Trump days, and then also during the pandemic, just different political views pulling people apart. And what I can imagine is that family saying, wow, I agree to disagree. Let's continue to love one another. We can still sing and dance together. We don't have to believe the same things about the government or whatever it is. That's part of my answer. I have more for me personally, and I'm sure you have more for you too. But if you're willing, #replay and then put in the chat, what is the most beautiful families that you can fathom? And then the truest, most beautiful world that we can hope for, right? Which is what the first question I asked. And putting it on paper. So write it in your journal, type it in the chat. We can use the thread, this comments thread, to change the world. I know it sounds silly, but it's not. It's not actually silly at all. So I would love to hear some things in the chat. World peace, no hunger. Everyone in the world has clean drinking water. The oceans are trashless, right? So all of these things come from consciousness rising. And all of that comes from you personally doing your work, which is what I'm here to assist in. So if you would like to chat about evolving in your sexuality, in your relationships, in your spirituality, that is what I do. That is my life. The universe only brings soul-aligned people to me, and I'm only calling in soul-aligned people. And if you're like, yes, there is a resonance, Neve, I do feel this pull, then I totally want to talk to you and hold space, and we'll just chat about whatever is arising in your field and see if there is a resonance for us to work together. And if not, that's great. I will serve you for an hour and help you get some clarity for the things that are challenging for you. That is my service. I love doing that. So you can book that call with me using the link in the description of this video. I can also drop it in the chat, and it has like pick a time, and then you fill out a form, and then we chat for an hour. And it's really a heart-to-heart conversation about what's arising. And I know that there's so many people who feel like there isn't anyone that cares or that will listen, or like that had no judgment. And this is a space where you'll feel deeply seen and heard, and there will be no judgment. So if you would like to take me up on that offer, that is always the free gift that I'm offering. And I would love to hear your imaginings. That is the challenge for day 3 of this wild woman. The wild woman imagines the unthinkable, the impossible. And as she does, her perspective changes. And then these things happen, right? I know, because I'm living it. So what do you imagine? If you're doing the challenge, then create a post or put under the day 3 challenge post what you imagine, or under this, in this thread. Okay. It was my honor and joy to inspire and encourage and serve you this week. It wasn't the easiest week. I know some of you know or might have experienced that as well. There was a really deep purging and reemerging that was possible through the solstice portal. I know I did a layer of that. I would love to hear if you did a layer of that. And yeah, I think that's it. I love you so much. I'm sending you love and light and blessings. Oh, and I said I would share my story. So I will share very briefly. So in my Divine Feminine initiation, we did a funeral for our old selves. We did a ceremony. Really, we didn't really do a funeral. We did a ceremony for our old selves and the aspects of us that are dead now. And it was really powerful. And part of it was writing your name on a rock and burying the rock, or throwing it in a river, or whatever, right? However you felt guided. And so yesterday, so solstice, I took my rock to the desert, into the desert, and I did a ceremony. I did a funeral service for my old self, and I buried the rock, and it was very powerful. And today I felt like this new power and energy and love. These rituals, these practices, the things that we do in the divine feminine initiation is powerful, and it changes you. It opens you up. It opens your heart up in a way that you still are protected. You still have this, like, no one can touch me. And yet I'm here and available to love the world. And that is a challenging thing to master. And it's helpful to have other women doing that with you and a guide. So, like I said, if you want to talk about it, I would love to talk about it with you. And yeah, thank you for being here for this challenge. I'm excited to see some of the comments. Tomorrow I'm driving. I'm heading to sacred sites, sacred nature sites. So I will share photos as I go, and some of the things that come through that are meant to be shared, I will share. All right. I will see you soon. Bye for now. Have a beautiful day.